Well, Tony, thanks for joining us. We certainly appreciate your time and your willingness to come and be with us today. Um, can you talk for a few minutes about how you got into music? What was your motivation? How you got to be? Well, I don't want to say how you got to be the Tony Lewis we know today, but maybe a little further back than that. What made Tony want to be a musician?
I don't know really. I mean, I sort of basically picked up an acoustic guitar that was going to be thrown in a dustbin. Well, it was my sister's friend's brother. He got an electric guitar and he couldn't even play it. And he was about to throw his acoustic guitar away. I said, "Are you throwing it away?" He said, "Yeah." I said, Can I have it?" He looked at me like, "Okay, it's fine." And I took it home and sort of played around with it. And basically, just from there, it just sort of grew. I used to play on my dance set record player, 78 revs per minute, and just to make out what the bass was doing. And on the acoustic, I'd make out what the bass was doing in the song. So I was very intrigued by like bass as well as guitar. And that's how it just started from about,
How old were you then, Tony?
I was about 14, 15.
14. So on your solo stuff, you play pretty much everything, right? You hit kind of all the instruments and all the high points. What's your favorite instrument, though?
I would say, even though I play bass, my favourite instrument is the guitar because it's just got more expression than the bass. You can, put a lot more effects on it and make chords up and stuff. And I've just been very, fascinated by the guitar.
I remember when I was in college and I was in a little cover band and I played rhythm guitar and whatnot, and there was our bass player quit, and someone had to do it. So I picked it up and I kind of learned, how to fumble my way through songs. And then when we got a new bass player, I was glad to get off the bass and get back to playing the six string.
Yeah, something like amazing about 4 thick strings on it. Because I thought that looks pretty easy because I wanted to sing. That looks pretty easy to play. I'll play the bass and see if I can sing at the same time. Guitar and singing, I wasn't too sure about.
But so you're 14. You pick up this guitar. You start to learn to play a little bit. Tell me a little bit about how you and John got together and the Outfield started to form just a few years after that for you. If my memory of the timeline is right, it wasn't a decade. It was less than 10 years later that you guys kind of met and started to come together. Is that accurate?
Yeah, because we all came from East London, and Alan Jackman was basically he was in my first band, our school band.
Oh, okay.
John, he was at an all boys school, just basically down the road from my school, and we just got to sort of know each other through the year because there was one rehearsal studio, and that's how we sort of got together.
So you all kind of crossed paths because there was only one place to go.
Yeah, and even before the Baseball Boys, me, John, and Alan was in a band called Sirius B.
Right.
A prog rock band, but at the time we started doing pubs and clubs. It was the punk thing exploded, so we couldn't. It ran its course, and I went back to playing in pubs. And Alan did his own thing, and then John.
So you guys weren't doing the punk thing.
No,
No.
I mean, I like what it stood for. I like the energy of it. I like Sex Pistols.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, Pretty Vacant. Them songs are great. I mean, I like the energy, but I didn't want to be in competition with that. I didn't want to be seen to be following it. We just wanted to do our own thing. That's how the sort of Baseball Boys basically evolved after that.
So you knew Alan before. Do you still keep in touch with Alan?
I still see Alan, but we don't live in each other's pockets. We're doing our own sort of thing now. I mean, That's why I don't want to do this solo album on my own. I just want to do the drums and the guitars and the keyboards and backing vocals. I just want to see if I could do it, just make an album on my own. Not out of megalomania, but just to see if I could do it.
Well, I mean, from my experience, there's a certain level of accomplishment to doing that, what you're doing, to sitting down and saying, well, here's the bass line, here's the rhythm, here's the drums, we're going to work on melody and kind of doing all that yourself, and then being able to maybe talk to someone else. But definitely something to take in, something from beginning to end in your own mind, and making that making it real.
Yeah, I mean,
So I can understand it.
because me and John were basically, after Alan left, me and John were the band, so we learned how to.
Mhm.
I mean, I did play guitar tracks. John would play bass tracks.
Yeah.
You do the drum program. I'll do a drum program. It was just all hands to the pump. You know, the two of us doing all of it, and we learned productions techniques along the way. And that's how we taught ourselves the skills to do it. That's why you know, when you go in the studio and you just play, pick up something and record it, you just think everyone does that, but they don't. You know, you think, well, you playing all the instruments. Wow, that's phenomenal. I'll just take it as sort of such a like second nature. Really, it's just something I do. Just to, you know, pick up along the way.
So you went. So you all were together for Series B, and then I know that you guys did some different things separately and together, and then the Baseball Boys kind of formed together.
Yeah.
So when you went from the Baseball Boys, you got signed, you got noticed, right? What was that like for you and for the three of you together to go from, you know, pubs and things like that to getting noticed, signed, and all of a sudden now you have a record deal?
Well, I mean, just to clear a few things up, because after Series B, there's a bit of a grey area. People were thinking, well, how did Baseball Boys become Baseball Boys? Well, basically, I went back and played in pubs and clubs. John went to see me play in a pub. I was playing a police songs, a Message in a Bottle, and he had some songs, and he said, "Wow, I didn't know you could sing like that high." And he had some songs, and we did some recordings, and from there it sounded like a band. And then John just wrote on a cassette tape left to the rental company, Baseball Boys. It wasn't we wanted to call ourselves Baseball Boys because of the sport connotation. It was just you seen the film with the Warriors, the Street Gang.
Yeah,
Thought, that'll be good as a working name for a band, and that's how Baseball Boys came about. We did basically 2 years of pubs and clubs, and then we.
So you were so are you saying that before that you were singing in maybe in a lower key more often?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't used to do a lot of lead vocals, but every time the police songs would come along the set, I just thought everyone could sing "Message in a Bottle," or, you know, or Roxanne, or whatever the song was, and I sung it, and it was like John was in the pub at the time. He said, "Well, I didn't know you could sing that." I didn't know. It was just pure sort of fluke, really.
Just kind of something you did.
And yeah, and he sort of geared the keys to the songs to my voice, and that's how we got our sound, basically.
So obviously the sound came together and it meshed and it culminated. And I know that there was at least one, and maybe it's been overblown, but I know there was an interview at some point where John had said that that Play Deep was the right record at the right time in I guess at least in the United States at that time, and it was a huge hit. So what was that like? So you guys signed this record deal. You spent, I know you've told stories about recording Play Deep, and then you're jumping on the road. What was that whole transition like during that, what is probably a reasonably short time period for you?
Well, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, Say Isn't So was the first single from the album, and it did do very well across the whole of the country. It did well in certain parts, Midwest, Detroit and Michigan, and them sort of places. But it wasn't until we came home that Christmas of 1985, the rental company decided to put Your Love onto AOR radio just to keep the momentum going of the band. So, you know, it wasn't like an overnight success. You know, we toured for 6 months in a 15-seater minibus with our personal manager who didn't know where he was going. You know, we just basically remember a documentary of the Police when they first went to America. They were unknown, totally unknown. They financed themselves, and that's what we did. We just, after Say Isn't So, then Your Love. Obviously at that time, went to radio to keep us on the radio during that Christmas time. And I mean, getting back to your question, it felt very, very exciting to be signed to CBS, which is now Sony, and couldn't quite sort of take it all in, and that transition between then Your Love coming out, as I said, like Sails at the Sun came out, and then we did a tour, Virtually Unknown. We played in a bar in Chicago to 30 people, and then we went back with Your Love was on the radio. It was, it was 3,000, 3,500. So
yeah, same music, right?
yeah,
Music didn't change.
yeah, we were just three just normal blokes from the East End, working class boys that just got this amazing opportunity to go to America and to.
So I remember, I didn't get to see you guys until summer of '89. You can see behind me the Voices of Babylon scarf, I guess it is, that was sold at the show. Now I remember you guys were opening for Mike and the Mechanics at the time, and me and a buddy of mine, and at the time I wasn't old enough to drive yet. My grandfather drove me to the show, and you played your set, and it was a great set. And when you played Your Love, the entire crowd gets involved, which I'm sure you're used to over the years, that no matter where you go, that happens more often than not. And there was a noticeable difference after that to when Mike and the Mechanics came on, which I'm a huge fan of them as well. And I think he's brilliant as a songwriter and all that. But the crowd was different for the Mike and the Mechanics part of the show versus the Outfield part of the show. Was that something you guys experienced on the road a lot, or was that just the perception that I saw that maybe wasn't something that happened often?
I think it's happened to quite a few groups, Black Sabbath, Queen, they opened for a big band, and a lot of people, were quite taken back by the excitement, the intensity of, the band being on, opening band. But a lot of people were expecting just, not mediocre, but just, a warm-up band, and people were quite surprised, especially with Your Love. It's quite a tough song to follow.
Yeah, well, if I think, not to get too stuck in that moment, but if I think about Mike and the Mechanics and the catalog that they were playing, while it's a good catalog of music and it's very well done, it was a very enjoyable show, they didn't have a Your Love in their catalog. It was a different type of music. It was a different, I think, appeal. The appeal was different than what you guys brought to the stage. So
some of the people that went to Mike and Mechanics are still fans to this day through seeing us on that tour from '89.
Well, yeah, I believe that, and I think you mentioned it a minute ago that folks go to the shows, they buy tickets. I bought tickets to see the Outfield, and I figure Mike and the Mechanics is a great show too. And I think a lot of people are going to see Mike and the Mechanics, and who's this band that's opening? I know who they are, so I'll go and I'll listen to them too. But I think that a lot of opening acts, whether you have those big top 40 hits like the Outfield had going into that show, whether you do or not, fans find music that way.
Yeah,
I think they absolutely do.
So that's why I think a lot of these shows now, if they're co-headline, there's no sort of battle for who's the best band on the night. You know what I mean? It's this, that there should be that rivalry there. You know what I mean? It was a bit of a mismatch of us and Mike and Mechanics, I must admit, because Mike Mechanics is a bit like Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
The intensity of Genesis and the big super groups, they're hard to follow.
Yeah, well, they absolutely are. So we'll talk. You were just on the '80s cruise. You had your record come out in 2018. You did that. You did what was it? The '80s tour. And then you went out.
Futura.
Thank you. I could not think of the name of it for some reason. The Retro Futura tour. Then you went out and you did your own thing there for a bunch of shows as well. And then you went on the '80s cruise. Of all of those things that you did there, which part of that did you enjoy the most? What was the thing that sticks out in your mind as, hey, I got to make sure I keep doing that?
I think I enjoyed all of it really, because I'm just really grateful that the Outfield fans, I was just, they've embraced me as a solo artist, and I'm, do you know what I mean? And I found that a bit nerve-wracking because I wondered how I was going to be perceived, because obviously losing John, I look to the right and he's not there, and it's not Outfield anymore. It's not. I don't want to try and just keep pumping Outfield songs the rest of my life. I want to keep bringing on new stuff to the table. So the first Retro Futura tour was like, well, I played sort of 4 or 5 songs, and I hadn't played live for about 14 years. So I didn't know if I was going to be lasting that long because I was a lot older. The highlight was just getting through the first show. Basically, that sort of out of body experience almost. Here I am, like just on my own, doing my own stuff and Outfield songs, and it was just amazing.
Right. So so you went on that. So the Retro Futura tour was mostly Outfield music. You played a couple of your own tunes. You mixed in there a few times. When you think about that process, when you thought about, hey, it's time, I think it's time for me to get out there and write some music and see what I can produce. What was your mindset going into recording the album Out of the Darkness?
I was just wondering if I was still relevant. I was hoping that I'd get embraced as Tony from the Outfield, and not to sort of be, like just someone. Just even Pete Townsend had said that if I'm going out as the Who, I still like to bring something new to the table, bring new material. Otherwise, I'll just be doing Who songs the rest of my life. And I've got the same philosophy. I was wondering if I didn't want to be a one-trick pony.
Was there when you did the album, you wrote the songs? I know that that your wife Carol has helped immensely with writing those songs. How much of a process and coming together was that for you and for her as you wrote through those songs and produced things that were uniquely Tony Lewis and not a band, if you know what I mean?
It was quite an easy process. I mean, I had sort of backing tracks already written, and obviously after John had passed, I didn't want to sort of listen to music, let alone play music anymore. And as the sort of time went on, after about a year, Carol said to me, we went out for a drink one night, let's have a meal. I think you should get back into it. You do best. And I already had backing tracks written. And it was a personal journey. There was no stress or no pressure involved. And as Carol said, had these words, and I put the words and put the melodies to the backing tracks, and it all sort of fell into place. I would start a song with just an acoustic, like lyrics, and make them distort the story into something. It's just like, I'm not comparing myself with Elton John, but he's not I'm not a natural lyricist. So Carol's just good at lyrics, and I just was able to work with her and just do arrangements, melodies, and just get it. So it was just such an easy thing to do. It was just an enjoyable project. There was no stress involved. It was like we'd get like one complete song done a week, and after about between 6 months and a year, it was completely done. I finished an album.
So you got that album. You had the first single that came out, Into the Light, and then you followed up with Here and Now, not too long ago.
Yeah.
That are both out there and available. There's music videos out on I guess on YouTube that people can see and can watch. As you went from that moment in your creative time to thinking about newer material, I know you've got some acoustic stuff you've been working on. How did you think about that moving forward? Now you've done the album. What's next for Tony as you move into something else?
We've basically got enough songs to do another album, but the Madison Records said it would be far more interesting and keep the momentum going by doing like EPs every now and then, with 3 or 4 songs.
Well, do we think are we a singles culture now? Are we a couple of songs at a time culture and not 10 songs at a time? Is that what we're thinking?
I don't know. I don't know if we're turning into a single or EP culture or album culture. I would just want to put out at least 2 or 3 songs every 6 months or a year, or rather than just wait and mix and record a complete album.
Keep it going.
Yeah, because the process of doing a complete album just takes such a long time, and by putting EP, I mean Ed Sheeran's proof for that. You know, he's
absolutely
out songs every night just to keep it going, keep momentum going, and that's it. You know, that's the sort of plan. I've got no, you know, real big aspirations of world domination. It's just want to just keep writing, recording, and touring because I love doing it. We've got at least 15 songs ready to go, and they're all good songs. I mean, this next EP, the acoustic songs, is basically an acoustic version of Out of the Darkness, I'll Still Be Here, and Here and Now. I just wanted to strip them back. We did that with me and John did that with Your Love. Your Love just for the acoustic, because the ultimate litmus test is a song will stand up with just an acoustic or just a piano.
Absolutely, yeah. One instrument, one voice. How does it work? Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they were written, basically. You know, because a lot of songs we've done in the past where it's just been on production, relying on production, and people use backing tracks and stuff. That I don't like to use backing tracks. I mean, sometimes they are necessary and they're great and make it sound like the real thing. But I like to do things, you know, on a root level. You know, like where it sounds like you can pick up an acoustic and just sing it into a mic, and that's the song. You know, it's easier said than done, but they're the songs I like doing.
Absolutely. So I know that. So you've talked a little bit about this little acoustic EP that you're working on getting ready to kind of release on everyone. Is there a single that's coming from that, or are they just a group of songs?
It's just an acoustic EP, but there will be a single coming out. I mean, obviously, because of this situation now, I don't want to sort of ram down people's throats. This is my schedule, and this is my new album. This is my new song. You know, I just want to, you know, just talk to people like you, and just talk to radio people, and just say like, this is Tony. This is what I'm doing at the moment. You know, I mean, even Harry Styles had said the other day. He said that he had a big plan to do a big tour, and he said, but he made quite a good point. He said it's very unimportant at the moment.
Well, it is, and you know, you mentioned Harry Styles and his comments on the tour, and I saw that kind of come across one of my news feeds, and I wonder. So it's April now. You know, does the summer touring season really not happen? Whether we're clear of this, say, in a month or not, does it kind of not happen? Are people gonna buy tickets to go see shows? I don't know.
So I mean, because it's so unpredictable. You know, you can't really have a plan. You know, just all we want to do is just, you know, live sort of day to day and keep looking at the news and just hope we'll get through it. You know, and just see what happens at the end of April, end of May. Who knows? It's just we just keep going.
So there's some artists out there. I mean, there's a bunch of artists. I shouldn't say some artists out there who are doing live shows on their internet. And one of my favorite artists is Edwin McCain. And I'm sure you've at least heard of him, even if you're not a fan like I am. He does. He's doing every Monday night on Facebook. He does a show, and it's, you know, it's a pickup show. It's not formal or overly produced or anything like that. And have you given any thoughts to doing anything along those lines?
I'm open to doing stuff like that. You know, a lot of people are doing stuff remotely and recording remotely, and it's all good. It just keeps people, you know, laughing and just, you know, just want everyone to be safe. That's all. You know, we did a Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago.
That was a lot of fun.
That was before, you know, all this, you know, the coronavirus had really sort of locked in before lockdown. It was just like the eve of it. And since then, you know, it's the world's become a very small place, you know, and so just want everyone to be safe and just try and sort of make light of it, you know, like, you know, if anyone wants to sort of do songs, but I want to do songs, but I don't want to sort of, you know, like a lot of bands might want to plug their album and plug their, so I just want to sort of be useful to people like you in the industry and just do a song every now and then, or song that sums up, these times, rather than, trying to sort of put a plan in place, because there is no plan for anyone at the moment.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you brought up there. Think like a song that might sum up the times, and I think that when I look back as a fan, so when I look back at the body of at least the music that the Outfield put out, that was on the records, right? Not the other stuff that floats around the internet here and there and whatnot. But while there were a few songs that had a political tint to them, or maybe spoke about an event, and I think what a lot of fans will point to when we think of that are songs like John Lennon and things like that. It seemed like the Outfield tried not to touch on that too much. And I think you and I have spoken before about some of the songs that you play live, and you say you want it to be fun, you want the fans to engage, you want them to enjoy themselves. When you look forward about that, do you see yourself touching on any of those more time sensitive or political subjects in your music?
No, I don't. I mean, a lot of people use that sort of status to get their political views over. I'm not like that. I remember Tom Jones said, "I'm not a politician, I'm a singer." He just said it in one sentence. I'm an entertainer. I entertain people. I take people out of themselves. I don't want to remind them, of how bad the world's doing, or I feel the world should be run better by doing this, doing that. We're just musicians, just like playing gigs, entertaining people and going home. Just having a good time, taking people out of their doldrums. Basically, that's what music's all about, really, especially live music.
And it definitely can do that.
Yeah,
it definitely has that power. All right, so Tony, so you're sitting there, you've got your guitar with you. Would you mind playing something for us? Anything you'd like, whatever works.
Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Whoa. I had to make a promise to myself. I'm gonna make you love me. You are gonna follow all the rules. I'm gonna make you love me. Well, that'll be the new single. Blah, blah, blah.
And what's that called, Tony?
When we're all back to normal,
Yeah.
Maybe August, September, who knows, or even next year. But
I don't think anyone really knows. I think that's part of where we are, is no one really knows. So that's one of your new pieces, and that sounds great. It's definitely got that infectious melody and feel to it that people would definitely identify with you and your music. So that's
Thank
great.
You.
All right, so I'm gonna make it hard on you now, Tony. If you had to pick, this is twofold. If you had to pick one song that you've played throughout your career, and you had to play it live, and that was it, just the one song, what would it be?
I would say All the Love in the World for the Key Workers.
Okay, no, that's a good one.
All the people in the medical profession, all the people that are saving lives and just doing an incredible job. They're putting their lives on the line. I don't think people really realise how hard and how dangerous they're putting their lives in. Just keeping everyone alive.
Absolutely. Now, take that same question, non-Outfield related. You're going to choose one song that not Outfield, not Tony Lewis. What are you picking?
What if I had to play live?
I'd play it live.
What now?
No. Well, no, I'm not. You don't have to play it now, but I'm just saying you have to choose. You would pick it.
Oh. I would say this is a tough one, isn't it?
Well, I didn't tell you I was going to ask these questions.
Here and now. Here and now. Oh, anyone? If there was a song that I would sing like
Yeah, by someone else.
I suppose the Beatles. I've always liked, because I like the acoustics. I mean, I like Anna, I Love Her. I love song All My Loving. You know, I like the really old school Beatles. You know, when they first, there's an innocence in their sound, and coming from from Liverpool, they're sort of coming from the docks is very much where I come from, like in East London. They've got the same sort of sense of humour and working class background. And Penny, I remember hearing Penny Lane on the radio when I was 9 years old. When I first heard that, I was about 9 years old. It made me feel safe. I don't know why. It just had that message in the song that made you feel like no matter what day you was having or what day you thought you was going to have, everything was going to be all right, because there was something in that song. When I still hear that. When I hear it comes out of the speakers, it's just magical. It's more than what the song is about, if you know what I mean.
I think that was something that the Beatles gave to us, was that gift of writing music that had meaning beyond just the song itself and tying it up into a pop song.
Yeah, connection. You know, they know how to connect with people, and it's almost. I mean, I'm not over religious, but it's definitely spiritual. It definitely sends out a message that it's sort of, that song for me just wraps itself around you, you know.
Right. Well, Tony, thanks for stopping by. I'm not gonna hold you on. I know it's later there than it is here. We still have sunshine out there, and you don't right now.
We've got moonshine now.
Yeah, I got moonshine. But
it's not too late. I've got my pajamas on yet, so.
No, well, that's good. I mean, you know, it's just a lot of us here who are social distancing aren't getting dressed.
Yeah, don't think about that.
But thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to say to folks who are listening before we wrap up?
Oh, just basically everyone, you know, keep safe. You know, it's going to be a long old slog, but you know, let's get through it, and let's bring music back to people's lives, and let's all laugh again. You know, and all this sort of social distancing, I just can't get my head around that. I read on my phone is that some people are having coffee mornings in their front gardens, and they're just waving to each other like that. It's like
we're getting some of that. We definitely are.
They're trying, you know, but I mean, hopefully we'll get back.
Human beings are social social animals. We are social animals.
Yeah, that's right. And just thank you for interviewing me. You know, just appreciate it.
Well, again, thanks for your time, Tony. I really appreciate it. Thanks to you and to Carol for putting this together. We appreciate your time. We look forward to more music from you in the near future, hopefully, Tony.
Thank you.
And you entertaining us, and hopefully getting back on the road and coming back stateside when you can.
I'll be there. Good luck, and thank you.
Have a great night, Tony.
And you.